everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 199. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, hand-dyeing yarn, sewing, and pretty much making all the things in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from and I live. And as always, I'm super happy that you are taking some time out of your day to chat about all the crafty things with me today. So yeah, as I mentioned, we are quickly coming upon the 200th episode, which is 1 week away. I do plan on recording next week, which is super exciting, and it kind of coincides with the 6th podiversary of the YarnGasm podcast. So super excited, guys. And you know, now's the chance. If you haven't already, there's a thread in our Ravelry group, which if you have not joined, you should totally join. Highly recommend it. Lots of chatter, lots of conversation happening, and the place to be if you want to actually win some of these giveaway prizes that I have up for grabs for our 200th episode, just as a thank you to viewers, be it, you know, you're just tuning in or have been with me since the beginning, or, you know, what have you. So definitely check out the thread. There are 2 questions in there, and all will be explained, just to save some time. But yeah, before I get into anything else, I also want to say that I am also known as Voolenvine on Ravelry and Instagram, where I'm most active social media wise. So you can find me and follow me on there. And yeah, I also want to mention, which I always forget to mention every podcast, please, if you would like to get in touch with me, I highly recommend using email. I rarely check my my Ravelry email, my Ravmail, as I like to call it, only because I get a lot, you know, not to brag or anything, but I do get a lot of friend requests and earburns and everything, and then when I get a, you know, a real like a PM, it just gets swallowed by like all the, or buried by all, you know, like the friend requests and other miscellaneous messages that I get on Ravelry. So if you do have a question, please do feel free to contact me via email at voolenvineyarns@gmail.com. I'll put it in the down bar. And as always, show notes for every episode can be found at yarngasmpodcast.com. So yeah, that said, what was I going to say? I have no idea. I'm a podcaster. I've been doing this for 6 years. But anyway, I think that is it for administrative announcements. So yes, the 200th episode is coming along. The lace along knit along that we've been having, I think it's been going for about 2 months now, is coming to a close tomorrow. I will be closing the thread. Lots of beautiful lace patterns and projects have been filling that thread, and it's just been so beautiful to keep up with all of your progress. And I haven't been commenting too much in there, only because I want to you know, when I draw prizes, I don't want to draw my name as much. So, you know, if you get my logic, basically I'm going to use random number generator to choose winners for the prizes. One thing I do want to address is that I have been a naughty podcast host and have not been keeping track of which prizes I'm going to be delegating per knit along and what have you. So I will be revising. If you go into the respective knit along or giveaway thread that you are participating in, I will be revising and organizing all the prizes, so I apologize. But for our lace along, I do have several prizes up for grabs, which I will show you right now. We have some lovely minis from With Pointed Sticks, and these are her Cape Cod inspired themed minis, so these will be up for grabs. Let's see if I can show these to you. Yeah, really fun colorways. I love these. And then Magdalena of the Wolf and Shafa podcast, another awesome podcast that I love. I'm actually a couple of episodes behind. I'm sorry, Magdalena, but I will be watching and catching up with your latest episodes. But do check out her podcast. I love Magdalena. She's awesome. I will be talking about her a little bit later in the mail segment. But she has generously sent a lovely skein of her hand-dyed yarn. Here's her label. There, it's vertical. Really cute little wolf and yarn ball logo. This lovely skein that she hand dyed, and it's called it's on her Sigmund base, and the colorway is Toadstool's Fantasy, 400 meters, which I believe is 438 yards, and it's 100 grams. Oh, okay, she wrote it down, the yards. And I was very close, 437 yards. And the fiber content is 100% merino, 19.5 microns, and it is super soft, you guys. And it's this lovely green with, it's just a very tonal green with like dark blue flashes in there, if you can see it. But yeah, thank you so much, Magdalena. So there's that, and then there's the Brookelon shawl, a lovely pattern from, I was going to offer this for the 200th episode giveaway, but I already realized that there was another pattern. There's another pattern in there that I'm going to be giving away, and the Brookelon shawl, which is a lovely, beautiful pattern by Agata Makiewicz. I wanted to get that right, I had to check my notes. It's a lace pattern, so it only makes sense to do a little switcheroo and have that as a prize for the lace along. So that will be another prize for that. So we have 3 prizes, and yeah, so if you are participating or have been thinking about participating, now is the time to get your entries in, and you know, completed photographs and what have you, and I will close it there tomorrow at some point, and probably end of day, just to give you guys that extra, you know, little bonus there, or not a bonus, it's the full day, whatever, I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, sorry, I'm a little loopy today. But yeah, I will close the thread and use random.org to generate 3 winners and the like. So yes, okay, so that said, I am gonna move along to mail. Okay, so for the mail segment, I received pretty much the most amazing package from Magdalena, as I mentioned earlier, from the Voolenvine podcast. She's also the hand dyer behind Voolenvine, and she's from Sweden. And she was so, you guys, I opened this package and I kind of cried a little because it was just so amazing. Magdalena, you really just went above and beyond. Thank you. This is totally unexpected, totally unnecessary, but lady, yeah. Anyway, let me show you what she sent me. As I mentioned, she sent me 2 skeins of yarn, and she said I could keep one and, you know, or do what I want with it, like use it as a giveaway. And of course I had to share the love and offer one up as a giveaway, but I decided to keep this skein, which is really beautiful. Let me see. It's getting a little blown out. There we go. So it's this very delicate light blue, and it has just like these subtle like brown speckles in it, like not overkill at all, but I love it, and it's so soft, and it's her moon base in the Soul Society colorway, and it's 400 meters, again 437 yards, and it's 75% superwash merino and 25% mulberry silk. And yeah, you can definitely see the silk and the sheen in here. It's really beautiful. Thank you so much again, Magdalena. And then she also sent along some chocolate, which one bar has been spoken for. It was absolutely delicious. It was nougat, my favorite flavor, chocolate. And then she also sent a really exciting one, which had popcorn in it, and that one I'm saving. I'm actually gonna probably dig into it at some point tonight, but I love like interesting flavored chocolates. I've been seeing them pop up around a lot lately. I've seen like bacon flavored, I've seen, you know, anyway, those definitely excite me. So yeah, I've been saving the best for the last, so I cannot wait to dig into that. And then she also sent me some tea. I think it got shuffled around in the shipping process, but this really lovely Alpenfeuer tea, which it has like, I think blackberry. She wrote it in the letter. I have to refer to that again, but I believe it's like blackberry and elderflower, Alpenkrauter tea, I think. I don't know, but here, and cinnamon, yeah. And it definitely smells really good. So that was really fun. Cannot wait to dig into that. This would make a really good iced tea. All I can think about now is iced tea because it is hot out. Anyway, I'll talk about that in blather. But anyway, she also sent this really, I won't show you what she wrote. She wrote me some really sweet notes inside. But how beautiful is this card? It's a birthday card. It says, you know, Die besten Wünsche. I'm probably butchering this. German has been put on a slight hold, only because it's just been crazy, but I definitely want to dive into German again and learning it. But it says, Die besten Wünsche zum Geburtstag. Geburtstag is birthday, so happy birthday. Lass dich heute fern und reich besenken. Das hast du verdient. Ehrlichen Glückwunsch. So I'm sorry if that was totally butchered, but I'm learning, guys. I'm probably gonna cut that part out because I did not sound good to me, but I love the seahorses. Oh my gosh. So that was really nice. So basically this whole package was a birthday present for the podcast, you know, just to celebrate the 6th anniversary. So Magdalena, you are, but I didn't even get to the best part yet. Guys, oh my God, this is the best part of the entire present, I think. So I didn't even realize this until she goes, you know, the mysterious cardboard cover thing at the bottom of the package. I'm like, oh wait, there's more. So she sent this picture inside. She painted a portrait of Bella. I should actually get Bella because I showed it to her and she was like, that is so pretty. Really, she was like looking at the picture and everything. But Magdalena, you guys, how beautiful is that? That is Bella to a T. It is like the spitting image of her. Magdalena, thank you so much. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna hold that up there. This is getting framed, and I think I'm gonna put it somewhere on that wall in the back because this is awesome. I cried when I saw this. This is just so cool. Oh my, you're a talented lady. And yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. Thank you. I know I've said thank you about 1,000,000 times already, but seriously, so special. Really special to get in the mail, and I'm speechless, so thank you. But anyway, moving along, I feel like I've been rambling forever about announcements and mail and everything, but I have some finished objects to show you. Well, I lied, it's not plural, it's actually singular. So I have a finished object to share with you, and you can probably guess what that is. I finished my confetti and champagne socks. So yeah, they're done. I haven't blocked them yet, but so the yarn is Jinx Yarns in her confetti and champagne colorway, which is a limited edition. It's to celebrate 5 years of Jinx Yarns, which congrats again, Laura. And you know, I snagged a skein of it. It's a limited edition. I think she's only dyeing, as I mentioned in the last episode, she's only dyeing 120 skeins and will not have any more available until after she returns from SSK at the end of July. So just so you know, in case you're curious about this yarn. But so fun to knit. These, as I mentioned, they practically knit themselves. This is probably the quickest. I can't remember the last time I knit a pair of socks this quickly. Yeah, they're just so fun to knit, and it's self-striping. Even though if you look up close, it's very variegated and speckled, you know, in each stripe. 1x1 ribbing, cuff down, afterthought heel, and a grafted toe. Let me see if I can get that to focus. Ugh. I give up. Anyway, you know what a grafted toe looks like, Kitchener stitch and everything. But as I mentioned, I'm not a huge fan of afterthought heels, although they do have their place when it comes to self-striping. Going forward, I think, you know, I'm not going to give up on afterthought heels. You know, they, as I mentioned, they are aesthetically pleasing for some colorways and everything. But yeah, I find them fiddly. Even though it's easy, you know, you just knit the entire sock and you put scrap yarn where you want the heel to be. But the part that I really don't like is picking up all the little stitches above and below the scrap yarn. And then the most tedious part is taking a darning needle. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. You probably use like a thicker yarn so you can pull the scrap yarn out a lot easier, but for me it's just like pulling teeth. I don't know, it's just not a pleasant process for me. If you have any tips when it comes to picking out the scrap yarn from afterthought heels, please let me know. That makes it like a more easier experience. An easier experience? More easier? I don't know. My grammar's off today, but anyway. Yeah, so this was definitely a very fun knit. I still have to block them, as I mentioned. What else did I want to say about these? They're just really fun to whip up. They're not identical, only because, yeah, the type of yarn, it really doesn't bother me. Because they're so speckled and each stripe is so variegated and speckled, I just wanted it to be random. Like random funfetti, confetti, and just a party on feet, basically. Yeah. So that's pretty much what I have to say about these. And these are going into my box of socks, which I feel like I have not mentioned the box of socks cowl for quite some time on the podcast. But yes, I'm hosting a year-long knit-along called hashtag box of socks. What is even the hashtag? I think it's like hashtag box of socks cowl. I'll put it in the down bar in case I'm even wrong. But yeah, I've been working on my box of socks, and again, there's a thread for this in the YarnGasm Revelry group where it is just an ongoing rolling feed of beautiful hand knit socks and your boxes that you're storing your hand knit socks in. And the whole concept, if you're just tuning in, is to knit at least 12 pairs of socks for yourself. It's a selfish knit along. And to place them in a box for, you know, so when 2017 rolls around, you have a whole box full of beautiful hand knit socks to just wear. And it'll be January, so it'll be cold. It'll definitely be sock wearing season. And you can totally wear them beforehand. It's totally fine. But yeah, and you know, there will be prizes awarded for, you know, obviously having a complete, you know, 12 pairs in a box. And then there will also be a prize for, what do you call it, most festive box. And I'm trying to have fun with this too. I think I want to have like a panel of judges for, call me crazy, but yeah, I think I want to have a panel of judges for this, like best box of socks, best box, or I don't know, I have to flesh this out a little bit more, but there's just so much happening in that thread. It blows my mind every time I go in there, and I think you guys are doing amazing work and you deserve to be awarded for it. I'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know what I think, but anyway, yes. Okay, so, but let me show you my box so far. It's been a while since it's made an appearance on the podcast, but this is my box of socks. It's a box that I found at Staples by Paper Chase in the infamous print that I was obsessed with. I don't know if you remember, but I fell in love with this print and I bought pretty much everything in the print. So, but yeah, of course I had to get a little filing cabinet of it, or a little filing box. But yeah, I bought this, I bought a binder, I bought a tote bag. What else did I buy? I bought some stationery. It was crazy. So yeah, I definitely stocked up on the print. But anyway, living in my box of socks, I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole complete pairs. Sorry, my cat's toys making noise. I don't know if you could hear that, but here it is. And this is one lone sock that succumbed to second sock syndrome. But anyway, I'm still working. It's a blueberry waffle sock on Query Fibers, in case you're curious about that. Yeah, I was not a fan of knitting the blueberry waffle socks. It just, like, pattern socks in general, I don't fare well with. You know, I definitely risk that second sock syndrome thing. But yeah, here's my box of socks. And as you can see, these are Arne and Carlos. Some are, oh no, I'm sorry. These are my knit picks. Felici in the Tea Party colorway. These are Arne and Carlos in the Summer Night colorway. And these are my hand-dyed, this is a Love Song, my hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns in the monkey socks by Cookie A, one of my favorite pattern socks. And I believe there is actually a cookie jar along where it's hosted by Candace from the Pin, Feathers, and Pearl podcast, and Laura from the oh my god, the Fawn Knits podcast. Sorry, I'm brain farting everywhere today. But yeah, they're doing a Cookie A along, and basically you just knit. I think that's ending actually soon, but anyway, the idea was to knit any Cookie A pattern that you fancied. So, but yeah, this was the monkey socks, and then just Wolf and Chaffee yarns vanilla socks that I did contrasting heels and toes in my own hand-dyed yarn, and then another Jinx yarns. This was her gingerbread house colorway. My camera really wants to focus on my face right now. I apologize, but yeah, these are gingerbread house self-striping by Jinx yarns. So yeah, that's where my box of socks is now. So now I have a total of 6 pairs to add to that are dwelling in my box. So yeah, but anyway, of course, when one finishes a pair of socks, one has to cast on another pair. I have not cast on another pair yet, but I do have an exciting plan for my next pair of socks. They're probably gonna be vanilla socks, but wait. I might make them a pair of Pebble socks by Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat podcast. She has a whole collection of Beyond Vanilla socks, which is a collection of sock patterns that are pretty much very intuitive to knit, but you know, if you're tired of knitting vanilla socks, these patterns are supposedly just as fun to knit as vanilla socks, but with a little bit more interest, but obviously they're more intuitive, and you know, they're supposed to be just easy breezy, what have you. But I do have my yarn picked out for that, and I was following Jacqueline of the Brooklyn Knit Folk podcast. She had just finished a pair of Pebble socks, and I really like her aesthetic when it comes to choosing contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes to go with her yarn. And I saw this colorway combo in my stash, and I was like, you know, this is so Jacqueline, and I definitely want to cast on a pair of Pebble socks. So I think this has to happen. And this definitely reminds me of Laura from the Fawn Knits podcast, because obviously it's hedgehog fibers in the birthday cake colorway in twist sock, which is, I believe it's blue face luster and nylon. I could be wrong. I don't see it on here. Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, it's 80% blue face luster wool and 10% nylon. So excellent sock yarn. Love this color. I got it at Vogue Knitting Live last year. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. So really fun. And then for contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes, this has to happen. And this is yarn I purchased, I don't know how freaking long ago. I definitely purchased it in Cape Cod, oh my gosh, Cape Cod at Knitting and Adventures in Knitting in at their old shop. And this is Frog Tree Yarns, and I definitely lost the tag, but it's just been sitting languishing in my stash, and I've had no clue what to knit with it at all, because it's, I don't know, I could probably get away with it, but neons don't really jive with me when it comes to shawls, and there's definitely not enough in here to knit an entire shawl. But I think these colors go really well together, because crazy neon colors, what have you. But the only thing is, this is because it's BFL, it's a little rougher. Not as soft, but this is very soft, and I think there's a bit, because Frog Tree, if I'm not mistaken, they have a little bit of alpaca content in here. I really have to look it up, but this is definitely softer. The ply is slightly different, but it has to happen. I think it'll go really well together. So anyway, that is my plan for my next pair of socks. Cannot wait to cast on. I'm probably going to cast on right after this. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, that is the plan. So yes, and then other than that, I don't have any more finished objects because I'm not that fast, you guys. But I did make progress on and living in my Little Creek Designs project bag, which, by the way, last week I was doing down bars and with, you know, lower thirds with, you know, giving credit to what I was talking about. And the lower third that I gave for Little Creek Designs, said by Mina Phillip, which was totally wrong, and I apologize both to Mina Phillip and Selma, because yeah, that's just incorrect. So I had to make like a post note on the video in YouTube, you know, correcting myself, but I want to correct myself here. Little Creek Designs is in fact by Selma. I'm totally blanking on your last name, but do check her Etsy shop out. She has lovely bags, and this is one of them. And yeah, I will put obviously link in the down bar, but yeah, she's also one of the co-hosts of the Two Tangled Skeins podcast, another podcast you should totally check out. But yeah, living in my Little Creek Designs project bag is my Loden shawl, which is a pattern by Irina Dmitrieva. I got it, yes, okay. See, I'm getting good at this, guys. Okay, so, but yeah, my Loden shawl, as you remember, I had a huge snafu last week where I dropped 4 stitches, and you know, I had a game plan of how I was going to fix it, and thankfully said game plan worked like a charm. So I had 4 drop stitches that I dropped down. I didn't realize I had dropped 8 rows down. And so my plan was, I'm looking for it right now. So my plan was I put the 4 stitches on a removable stitch marker to come back to later when I, you know, recovered from my, oh my gosh, what did I do moment, and came back to it, knit those 4 stitches together with a crochet hook so it became 1 stitch, and then I crocheted up the rows, and then I now have the stitch in the back of the work on the same removable stitch marker, but when it, you know, when it's time to bind off, I'm going to use whatever scrap yarn I have to secure it in the back. But you guys, where did it go? Oh yeah, done, the wrong side. On this side, so you can see it. Here's the removable stitch marker, right? This is the wrong side. But when I flip it around, now if you can see it, you really can't tell where it is. Like, it's supposed to be right there. You can't tell, which I was very happy about. So yeah, apparently my plan worked out for the best, and very, very excited about that. So score, I did not have to rip back at all, and yeah, I think even if it was in another colorway, like a lighter colorway, you would not be able to tell that there was a mistake there. I mean, if you look really, really hard, there's like a little hole, like right there. Like, you see where my thumb is sticking out, like right there. Once I secure that stitch in the back, you're not even gonna be able to see it. But since I fixed it, I have made quite some progress. It's going a lot faster now. This is like a smocked, really beautiful, like smocked stitch going on. So it does like this leafy kind of, it has like this really beautiful like leafy edge to it, and then it goes transitions into this really pretty smocked kind of like mini leaf motif going on. And then I'm gonna do that for a while, for a couple of rows, and then it's gonna transition back into this, and yeah, the broadleaf motif. And yeah, as I mentioned, it starts from the bottom up, so you cast on a plethora of stitches, and then as you knit, the stitch count gets less and less and less. So you start out coming out of the black hole of knitting, and then you slowly like surface to the top for oxygen, if that makes any sense. That's how this, you know, well, like I am enjoying the process. It's an incredibly intuitive knit, enjoying it thoroughly. But yeah, it's that kind of, it feels like that while I'm knitting it, you know, it's like coming up for air slowly but surely, instead of like diving down into the hole, the black abyss of the dark universe that is the knitting black hole, where it feels like your knitting just keeps going on and on and on. So that probably made absolutely no sense. But anyway, yeah, really enjoying this knit. Again, it's the Loden Shawl by Irina Dmitrieva for Brooklyn Tweed. Really lovely pattern. I think it retails for $6 or $7 US. Definitely check it out. And oh, the yarn is by the Woolen Rabbit. And they're singles base in the chocolate chambord colorway. So really love it. And this is definitely going to be something that I wear, my go-to shawls that I wear during the winter. And I definitely plan on wearing it with my Anna dress, my, what do you call it, Jane Eyre inspired gothy Anna dress that I wore last week. So yes, and so back into the bag you go. And I've been pretty monogamous with these 2 projects, my shawl and my socks. I haven't worked on anything else these past several days, or the past week. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. I'm itching to cast on something else. And oh my goodness, I totally forgot to mention, this is so embarrassing, but the Periscoping Sisters, this is going to be another giveaway prize for the Lace Along, but the Periscoping Sisters have generously donated one of their patterns. It's a new pattern that they designed. It's called the Random Act of Color Shawl, and it's absolutely beautiful. I actually saw it, Katie from Inside Number 23 test knitting it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that seems like a fun pattern to knit, and I totally want to knit one. But lo and behold, they finished the pattern and have generously gifted me one, and then one for you lovely viewers. But I definitely want to cast one on in the near future. It seems like so much fun to knit, and I'm itching to cast something on. But I want to finish that first. I'm trying to be really good because I have a history of casting on all the shawls and then never finishing anything. Number one, lumpy space. It's still in my project bag. I still don't know what contrasting yarn to use. I will talk about that in the next episode, the 200th episode, because I have a lot of questions. And not to go off on a tangent, because I've been going off on a lot of tangents this episode, but anyway, the 200th episode, I am pretty much going to be, it's going to be a Q&A, Ask Me Anything episode, I think. You know, maybe I will do a little bit of, you know, what I've been working on, but for the 200th episode, I'm definitely going to do a lot of AMA, because I have a thread in there. If you have any questions of or relating to the podcast, if you're just tuning in, because I'm pretty much going to use the 200th episode to recap, just, you know, revisit, you know, why I started podcasting, how I started knitting, how I started dyeing, and, you know, the whole kit and caboodle, and answering your questions. So, but yeah, in that episode, I will probably be pulling out some whips or abandoned whips that are living in my area 51 or 52, whatever it's called, that I have not seen the light of day for quite some time. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna move on to sewing. Unfortunately, I do not have any finished sewing objects to share with you this week. I have not done much sewing, unfortunately, in the past 2 weeks, it feels like, and I'm itching to just sew something, be it project bag or something. I just haven't had the time to kind of like spread out, cut fabric. I will be honest, my back has not been feeling 100%. I should probably take out my table and cut fabric on there, because my back, my poor back, it's seen better days. But yeah, but long story short, I want to start sewing. I have plans for sewing, and I just have to find the time, take the time to actually do them, because I miss sewing so much. It's only been like, what, 2 weeks, and it needs to happen. But I do have something sewing related to share with you this week. If you have been following the podcast, you know that I am doing hashtag What's a Sloper with Gigi from the Knit More Girls, and we are both making slopers along with anybody else who wants to make a sloper with us. But I kept saying that I'm going to take my measurements in that this week. I'm going to take my measurements this week, and it never happened. But finally last week, I put my foot down and basically I took a lot of measurements on my own. I found that it was easy enough to do myself, but there were a couple measurements where I recruited Dennis, my husband, to take some back measurements, and I used the layout, because I am taking the Pattern Making Basics class, the Bodice Sloper with Susie Fuhrer from Craftsy. An excellent course if you are interested in making a sloper, and it gives you a worksheet to fill out. So it gives you what measurements you're supposed to take, and she shows you how to take those measurements. But I filled out my chart. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, but I filled it out, did all the mathematics, and I am no mathematician by any means. I actually had to text Dennis earlier. I am being like, okay, what is 14 divided by 6 in measurements? Because you can get a decimal, but how do you do that in fractions? So he helped me out with that, thankfully. So the next step is basically to draw out the pattern, and I'm probably going to need a little bit more math help with that, but that's what my husband is for, pretty much, right? But if you're thinking about joining us, definitely check out our respective groups in Ravelry. There's the Knit More Girls What's a Sloper thread, and then there's also the YarnGasm What's a Sloper thread. So yeah, join the fun. It should be, you know, Gigi is, again, she is light years ahead of me, but you know, if you are just joining in and want to join in, feel free to tag along with me and post your progress. Okay, so that is sewing for this week. I'm so bummed I don't have any sewing to show you guys this week. It's kind of like I'm holding myself to that. Like every week I must have a new sewing project to show off on the podcast. I can't do everything, guys. I apologize. But anyway, hopefully next time I record, I will have something to show you. Just for my own self, because like, you know, I like to make it a goal. Even if it's not something big, I like to keep the progress rolling, if that makes any sense. I put a lot of pressure on myself sometimes, but anyway, I'm blabbing. So I'm gonna move along to Ask Away, which is a thread in our Ravelry group where you can ask me anything your little heart's desire about the podcast, crafting, sewing, knitting, spinning, about me in general within reason. And the first question is from Debbie 0894, and she says, "Hi Kristen, I notice you have your Digress-a-Lot shawl available to purchase on both Ravelry and your website. Is there any benefit to having it in both locations? Do you get more profit from one or the other? I know some websites take a small portion of sales, which is what spurred that question. Do you find that having your website has any benefits over your previous Etsy store? I am contemplating starting my small business in the future, and I know Etsy is the easy way to start, but I was curious if you could provide some insight as to what led you to make the switch to your own page." Okay, so yes, Digress-a-Lot is my shawl pattern that I designed, and I offer it for sale on Ravelry, and I also offer it for sale on my website, VoolenvineYarns.com. So there are two platforms you can purchase it from. The only difference between the difference between both of those is for my own website, there are basically no fees at all. So you can purchase it you know, via PayPal and everything, and it just goes through, whatever. But then on Ravelry, I do have to pay a fee for selling it on Ravelry. So Ravelry gains a percentage of whatever however many patterns I sell of Digress-a-Lot on Ravelry. Ravelry gets a percent of it. I'm not entirely sure what, I think it's like about, it might be 3%, I could be wrong, but definitely check there. I should probably check there. It's a very small percentage, but yeah, I should probably check their info site where they let you know how much they take out. The other difference is by selling it on Ravelry, if you purchase it on Ravelry, you can then add that pattern to your library on Ravelry, and you know, just it makes it easier to catalog your progress and, you know, organize your patterns if you're into that. Whereas on, if you purchase it from my website, you know, you don't get to store it in you just get the PDF. That's all you get. You don't get to, you know, hook it up to whatever your stash on Ravelry or anything. It's just a lone PDF file. So I hope that answers that one question. So to answer the second part of your question, why I made the move from Etsy to my own website, well, let me explain. So when I started dyeing yarn, obviously I started on Etsy, which is a wonderful, great platform to start out on, or even, you know, stick with. I know lots of popular yarn dyers and fiber dyers are still, you know, who've been around for quite a while. They're incredibly popular and they're still on Etsy. Totally cool. It's whatever works for you. But when you start out on Etsy, Etsy does everything for you. They take the guesswork out of a lot of things that you would otherwise have to figure out. When, you know, tax time rolls around, they send you, you know, the appropriate tax form and everything, and you just download your CV file of all your sales and what have you, so you have that all prepared and everything, which is great. But then one downside of that, it's a service that they offer, so they do a lot of things for you basically. Pretty much like the more you sell, the more fees you have to pay Etsy, which is, you know, one of the reasons why I, you know, moved away from Etsy. But the main reason I moved away from Etsy was because I kind of wanted to give my brand its own identity, if you will, if that makes any sense. So, you know, remove the Etsy logo. I felt like I had enough experience under my belt to kind of move away and do some of those things that Etsy did for me on my own, and just give my shop its own brand, its own identity, and it was a lot of fun. I have to say, you know, right now I actually use WordPress and WooCommerce, which is a plugin for WordPress. So, you know, in case you're curious, that's what I do. I had to build a lot of stuff from the ground up. I actually had to revisit some of my coding, you know, back from my coding days. I had to, you know, do a lot of CSS and everything, going into the back end and doing a lot of, you know, CSS coding and everything. Anyway, you don't need to know that stuff. I know there are a lot of templates out there that do that stuff for you and make it a little easier, but of course, kind of a control freak, so I like to go into the deep end and just finagle things a little bit so it, you know, looks the way it does today. So, but anyway, but yeah, WooCommerce is totally free. I only pay for, you know, whatever add-ons or what have you that I wanna, you know, any bells and whistles and stuff. So, but yeah, it definitely shows you, it gives you stats and everything, but there are a couple of differences, that I won't talk about here because it's it gets into detail. So I'll let you do the research if you are interested. But that's what I use, and I like it. I really do. The only downside to WordPress is that there are a lot of plugins that you have to deal with, and a lot of times they need updating, and that can cause some hitches and glitches along the way. But for the most part, it's working out really well for me. I like it. I don't regret moving away from Etsy, even though I'm glad I started out there, because it kind of, if you're new to the whole indie, independent maker world, it's definitely a good start, a launch pad for that. So, I hope that answers your question. And yeah, so thank you. And I will move along to the next question, which is from Midnight Gypsy. She goes, hi, I have a question about dyeing yarn. I recently started dyeing yarn in my kitchen, and I was wondering how you keep your cats safe during the dyeing process, as well as how long I should wait to cook food after I have dyed. My cats are always wanting to be in the kitchen with me, and although I do leave the windows open, I still get very nervous. I want to make sure that they are safe. I mix all my dye stock outside in the open, but I was not sure if fumes would be dangerous to my cats. Obviously, I can't put a respirator on my cats. And she says, haha. Thanks. So I feel like I've answered this question in the past, but just to reiterate, yes, okay. So thankfully I have a cat that's really not interested in when I dye yarn. I mean, she likes to hang out. We have a kitchen island, and like the kitchen island is behind me while I work in front of the stove and play with dyes and what have you. And sometimes she'll sit on, like she'll just hang out on the kitchen island watching me, or just having fun in the background, whatever. But yeah, I mean, as long as your cat is not hanging out while you're actually handling the, the acid dyes, or as long as you're wearing a respirator and you're in front of the dye, I think that's all you have to worry about. But if your cat is like at a safe distance behind you and not directly in front while you're working, you should be safe. But what was I going to say? And how long you should cook after you dye. Honestly, after you're done dyeing and you clean everything down, I have a spray bottle of, the way I clean down, after I'm done working and I'm done dyeing, the counter is gonna get some dye on it, no matter what. I mean, you can go crazy, putting newspaper down and what have you, but in my experience, dye always gets on the kitchen counter. So after I'm done dyeing, I put everything away. Cleanup usually takes me about 15 to 20 minutes. I, rinse out all my pots. I obviously don't soap them down all the time, but I make sure they're all clean and stacked and put away. And then the kitchen counters, I have a bottle of Fantastic with bleach, and I spray down the counters with the Fantastic with bleach. Make sure, because I have these white granite counters. So, as long as I use the bleach, it gets all the dye out and everything. And then I do another once over with some basic Windex or glass cleaner, and just wipe it down. So as long as you do that and you clean down your kitchen, you're good to go for cooking, I think, as in my experience. So yeah, just do a good job cleaning up after you're done, and you should be gold. But otherwise, and I should also mention, you probably already know this, but have pots that are dedicated to dyeing versus cooking. So whatever pots you dye in, do not by any means cook with them, and vice versa. If you have a pot that you cook in, do not use it to dye in, and that, yeah, so that should be good. So I hope that helps and answers your question. But yeah, with your cat, I think as long as it's at a safe distance behind you and not in front of what you're doing, you should be fine. And yes, wear a respirator while you're handling acid dyes, in powder form, that is. And yes, so anyway, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for all of your questions. And again, if you have any questions for the podcast, leave them in the YarnGasm Ask Away thread, and I will do my best to answer them on the podcast and or in the thread directly, depending on how time sensitive they are or what have you. So that said, I'm gonna move along to shop update. Okay, shop update. I am having a shop update tomorrow, July 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But before I talk about what's going to be in the shop this week, I do have a couple of elephants in the room that I have to wrangle. So, first one being the Canadian postal strike. I'm not sure. It's supposed to happen. It's supposed to go down on July 2nd. Hopefully they will have figured out their issues beforehand and everything will be okay, but in the event that there is a strike, so worst case scenario, they do go on strike, any Canadian customers purchasing yarn from me tomorrow can expect their yarn or their orders to be delayed until after the strike is resolved. So I cannot guarantee that your order will get there on time and the normal time that it usually arrives if you've ordered from me before. So I'm just letting you guys know, being transparent about it, and hopefully that should inform your decision tomorrow should you choose to shop Voolenvine yarns. But hopefully they'll figure stuff out and it won't even happen. The other elephant in the room, I don't even know if I'm calling it an elephant. It's not obvious or anything, but anyway, something that I wanted to talk about this week or announce was that Voolenvine Yarns has been accepted into the Indie Untangled Trunk Show. Sorry, I got really excited about that for a second. But yeah, if you recall, last year I had attended the Indie Untangled Trunk Show, and it was just it was a small trunk show, but it was mobbed, you guys. It was a wonderful trunk show that just gives exposure to a lot of indie dyers and indie makers. And it was just a really awesome experience, and I thought this year, let me reach out to them, see if I can maybe score a spot. And lo and behold, I got an email the other day from Lisa, the girl who runs, the lovely person who runs Indie Untangled. She let me know that I had snagged a spot indeed, and that was just a really awesome email to wake up to. So yes, I will be vending at Indie Untangled in October, and you guys, if you can make it, I will have a booth. Dennis, my husband, will be my booth buddy, and yeah, we are very excited. So I've got a lot of work to do. I'm not sure how I'm gonna make it happen, but I will make it happen. Yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of work, but I'm super excited about it. So I hope you guys can make it, and it just should be a good time. More details to follow, I'm sure. But this is the first that I'm hearing about it, so I had to share my excitement with you. And yeah, so with that, I'm just gonna dive right into what's going to be in the shop tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, obviously I'm going to be dyeing more today and tomorrow, but just to give you a little preview, I have my basket. So yes, there will be Dirty on Purpose, and this is it on my Nouveau base, and here it is on my Blitzed base. I'll have some Myth on Blitzed, and here it is on Narwhal. This is it on Narwhal. I will have some I Am No Bird. Here it is on Blitzed. I have a lot of Blitz this week. I know last week I didn't have too much Blitz, but this week I have a lot of Blitz, which is my gold Stellina base. There we go. And this is my Jane Eyre inspired colorway. And then I will have it also on Narwhal. My camera does not want to focus. There we go. Okay. So yeah, there's that. And upon popular demand, I will have some more Black Pearl. Here it is on Blitz. There you go. There it is on Blitz. Here it is on Volca, which, by the way, guys, I'm contemplating renaming Volca. Volca is actually German for cloud, and while I like attributing, because I have a German background and everything, I like attributing German names to some of my bases. I'm thinking about changing I'm thinking about switching up some of the names for my bases just to make them a little bit more user-friendly, if that makes any sense. Because I noticed a lot of people have trouble pronouncing Volca. But yeah, it means cloud, but let me know what you think. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. But yeah, I have a couple of ideas of, if I were to rename some of my bases, I have a couple of ideas. But yeah, would that be confusing if I were to rename some of my bases? Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, what have you. But yeah, just a random side note. But yeah, Black Pearl on Volca. And then I will also have some Pandora. It's been a while since I dyed Pandora, but here she is. Pandora. Here it is on my Nouveau base, which is a superwash merino singles. I will have some Enjoy the Silence. Here it is on Footsie. And then I will also have it on Nouveau. I will have these dyed across pretty much all of my bases. And then I will have, this is a one-of-a-kind that I dyed up this week, which is really fun. Again, I don't know what it's called yet, but it's this really fun purple, orange, speckled hot mess right here. Maybe I'll just call it Hot Mess, one of a kind, yeah. And here it is on Blitz. So, yeah, there you go. So yeah, again, these are just what I've dyed this week so far. I'll have some more colorways for the shop update tomorrow and the like. So I hope you can make it. Again, it's going to be Friday, July 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This weekend, just FYI, is a holiday weekend. It's 4th of July in the United States, so it's going to be a long weekend. I do have a couple of projects. It's going to be a long weekend, so Dennis and I are actually going away through Monday. I'll talk more about that in Blather, but because it's a short week and I do have some side projects that I'm working on, which I can't talk about right now, but I promise you they're so exciting. I'm going to take the rest of that week to work on those. So there will be no shop update that week. There will be one the following week. But yeah, just so you know, there will be no shop update the following week, only because I'm just going to tackle a few things since I have the time. So I apologize if you were hoping for a shop update that week, but it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. And Yarn Club. The Yarn Club shipments will most likely ship the following week. So the second, no later than the third week in July. Most likely the second week in July. So FYI, just in case you're curious, that's when they will ship. The Once Upon a Time Yarn Club, which I'm very excited about. I have so many ideas for that, guys. So anyway, that said, I think that is it for this week. So I will be moving along to Blather, the section where I talk about what's going on in my life. Because yes, it is 4th of July weekend and Dennis and I are going away. It's Dennis's birthday on the 2nd, and so we decided to do a little impromptu trip to Maine. Normally we go to Cape Cod, but this year we decided to do something a little different. It's been a while since we've been to Maine, and we really enjoyed it last time. So we found this really cool place to stop by. I'm not exactly sure where it is. Maine is huge, but it's close to New Hampshire, and it's about a 4.5 hour drive, so not terribly long. Not a terribly long. It's about equidistant to Cape Cod, basically, but from here there. And then I found out that there is going to be there is a yarn store apparently 15 minutes away from the hotel that we're staying at, and they have a lot of local yarn, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, I think it's been about like 6 years. Oh my gosh, has it been 6 years? No, maybe 5 years since we've been to Cape Cod. I think we stayed in Harpswell last time, and we did Booth Bay Harbor, we did Freeport, we did the outlets, which was amazing. We did, oh gosh, we did, I'm totally blanking on the lighthouse, but anyway, it's just such a beautiful state. Really excited to be going back, and yeah, it should be a nice, long, relaxing weekend. Can't wait. And yeah, so there's that. I'm gonna get lots of knitting done, you guys, because yeah, long car ride. So I have to figure out what knitting I'm bringing with me. I definitely want to bring some spinning. And what else did I wanted to say about that? Yeah, definitely excited to check out the local yarn because their yarn is beautiful. And what else? And yeah, last night I actually had a meetup with Tanya from the Knitting Spring podcast and Jacqueline from the Brooklyn Knit Folk podcast. We all met up at Tacoma. I don't know if you watch Jacqueline's podcast, but she does these little vlogs where she documents places she goes and visits and everything, and she had gone to this place called El Presidente Cafe, Tacoma, in the Flatiron district of New York. And I was talking with Jacqueline and Tanya, and we're like, hey, let's have girls' night out or whatever. Let's grab some food or whatever. And yeah, we went to Tacoma, and oh my god, the food was so good. First of all, it was just great to see them, you know, because I have so much fun when I hang out with them, and I'm losing my voice. Sorry guys, I'm like losing my voice because I've been talking a lot. But yeah, it was just, first of all, I just really enjoy hanging out with them, so it was really good to see them. And we just had really good food. I had an El Pastor taco, we had some guacamole and chips, I had ceviche, which is my ultimate favorite food ever. Or one of them at least. Where ceviche, it's pretty much just like fish salsa, if you will. It's, you know, just it's a cold dish, whatever. But you take chips and whatever, and it's absolutely delicious. So we had that. We had margaritas. They had margaritas. I had some wine. And then afterwards, yeah, it was just a really, and you know, it's actually a really straight shot from where I live. Just get on one train, and I'm right there, so I could definitely see, you know, hanging out there a lot more, meeting Dennis for dinner one night, or hanging out with my knitting posse again. So, but yeah, that was a really fun night. Nice break for the week. Tonight we are having dinner with some more friends. Dennis and I, we're meeting up in Carroll Gardens because some friends of ours are coming in. They're actually seeing, I don't know if you guys watch this, but I mentioned in the past that I binge listen to Stuff Mom Never Told You podcast. I also listen to How Stuff Works and Stuff You Missed in History class. All three podcasts under the How Stuff Works podcast umbrella, if you will. It's like their own empire. They have like all these little offshoots of podcasts that they do, and the guys who do How Stuff Works, they are hilarious. And I had heard that they were going on tour. And then we met up with some friends last weekend for a barbecue, and they mentioned that they're coming into the city and they're gonna go see these guys who do, you know, they're, you know, doing a tour in the city, and they're doing a show at the Bell House in Gowanus, and we're like, oh my gosh, you got tickets to that. So a little jealous that I didn't get tickets to that, but they're hilarious, and they're like, well, we're gonna be in town, so you wanna do dinner? So yeah, we're doing dinner with them tomorrow. Even though I'm gonna try and see if I can sneak in with them to the show, but no, it's not gonna happen. But anyway, that'll be fun tonight. And then yeah, tomorrow Dennis and I leave. So yeah, it's a lot of talking. Otherwise, I'm trying to think what else is going on. TV wise, Game of Thrones has ended, which is sad. Now I have to scramble for something else to watch, although we do have Veep now to watch. We have a couple of seasons, thanks to Laura from Jinx Yarns. She introduced me to Veep, so we have that to watch now, which is good. But yeah, Game of Thrones ended. The last episode was, oh my gosh, whoa. Anyway, no spoilers, but Cersei's costume, my gosh. Laura, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so, but there's that, and then Outlander, I think, oh my goodness, wait. I think there is one more episode left. Yeah, there's one more episode of Outlander left, so that's happening this weekend. So, yay, when I come back, I'll have something to watch. There's a siren. I apologize. Bushwick. Anyway, Brooklyn for that matter. But, yeah, so one more episode of Outlander to watch, which it's gonna be a long episode, which I'm excited about and sad about because it just went by like that, which is crazy. And then I've just been watching a bunch of things on HBO Go. I don't know, stuff that's really hasn't been grabbing me. I started watching the Forsyte Saga again, which if you guys have not watched the Forsyte Saga, it is an amazing series. The guy from Homeland is in it, the redhead guy. I have not watched Homeland yet, which I should probably watch. Not so much into the political thrillers, but you know, I think it's something that I should probably get into watching for science. But yeah, the guy who's in Homeland, who no spoilers, but yeah, one of the guys in the earlier seasons of Homeland is actually he's a British actor, he's in Forsyte Saga. So that's been really fun to revisit. And then another movie that I just started revisiting is The Piano, because it's the only thing that popped up on HBO Go. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that one. It's with Harvey Keitel, Holly Hunter, and a very young Anna Paquin. Very young. I think she actually won an Academy Award for that. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling on a lot about this, guys. But anyway, I'm in rare form this week. It's crazy. But yeah, so check those out if you haven't. I'm still watching The Piano. It's just been kind of like my side thing because I have no idea what else to watch. But it's a really good movie, and I'm gonna have the theme song stuck in my head for the whole weekend. It's gonna be crazy. But anyway, that said, happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye. Bye.